Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about the past tenses. So, the first one is the past simple. We form it adding ed to the verb, unless it's an irregular verb. So, it's used for actions that happened at a specific point in the past or for past habits. The example would be, as a child, she stayed with her grandparents every summer. So, as it's every summer, it's a past habit. If we want to explain it in the timeline, this would be now, so this would be the past. So the past simple would be used to talking about a specific point in the past or about a past habit. So it happened here and here and here and here, for example. Okay, the next one is the past continuous. So we form it using was, were, and the ing form of the verb. It's for an action that was in progress at a specific time in the past, and that action can be interrupted by another action, or for simultaneous actions that happened in the past. For simultaneous actions, we use while. We will explain it later. The example would be, he was driving to the airport when his car broke down. So that would be an example of an action in progress that was interrupted by another action. So for the action that was in progress, we use the past continuous. And for the action that interrupted it, we use the past simple. We're going to see this in the timeline. Okay, the first sentence was, we were going to the airport, so that's an action in progress. Suddenly, that action was interrupted because the car broke down. So, we use the past continuous for the action in progress and the past simple for the action that interrupted it. We're going to see the past continuous in examples of rephrasings. The first example would be, the music started to sound and interrupted the teacher's explanation. So the action that was in progress was the teacher's explanation, and the action that interrupted it was that the music started to sound. So we would say, the teacher was explaining, so the past continuous, when the music started to sound. We use the past simple here. Another way in which we can use the past continuous is for expressing actions that happen simultaneously, that is, at the same time. Okay, here there is a mistake, but the example would be, I was going to the concert and she was meeting her boyfriend. That two actions were happening at the same time. So the example would be, I was going to the concert, so the same sentence, while she was meeting her boyfriend. So we just have to use while to explain that these two actions were happening at the same time. Okay. The next tense is used to. So you remember that the past simple was used for past habits. Another way of expressing past habits is by using used to. Before we continue, we have to remember that for habits in the present, we don't use used to. We use adverbs such as usually or normally. Okay, so used to is used when we want to talk about past habits and things that happen regularly in the past but no longer happen. So, for example, she used to live in a farm before she came to the city. So she doesn't live in the farm anymore, okay? An example of this would be, he loved to play with his dog when he was a child. So we are using the past simple to express a habit, but we want to use used to. He used to love to play with his dog when he was a child. So we're using used to instead of the past simple. Okay, the next tense is the past perfect. In order to form it, we use had and the past participle form. It's used for an action that finished before another past action. For example, she had already left when we arrived. So, if we want to explain it in the timeline, we would say, we have two actions in the past. One happened after the other. So, this is when we arrived, and this is when she left. In order to talk about the action that happened before the other action in the past, we use the past perfect. So, she had already left when we arrived. The same with the past perfect continuous. We form it by using had plus been plus the verb in the ing form. It's used to put emphasis on the duration of an action that happened before another action in the past. The example would be, he had been studying all night, so he was exhausted. So what happened before is that he had been studying all night, and as a consequence, afterwards he was exhausted. So it's the same in the timeline, but instead of being an action that happened at one point in the past, it's for an action that was in progress and happened before another action in the past. So he had been studying, so he was exhausted. We use the past simple here and the past perfect continuous for the action that happened before. Okay, let's see it in an example. He finished his burger and then he felt sick. So, what happened first would be that he finished his burger. And after that, he felt sick. So, those are two actions in the past. We would say, after the first action, which would be he had finished his burger, he felt sick. So this one is still in the past simple, and the first action changes to the past perfect simple. Another example would be, she left, then he arrived at the airport. We can say, by the time he arrived, she had already left. So we are using the past perfect simple to express the first action and the past simple to explain the second action. So these are all the examples that you can find in the rephrasings of the past tenses.